Okay, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Courtney Carlson. If you're finding this video, it's in the middle of a mini-series. I just wrote my third book. It's called Unbecoming Her. You can find it on my website, and I'll link it below. But I am going over 6 of the 26 chapters in the book that I found really helpful in processing through not only healing and growth and transformation and just stepping into like this self-empowered place, my calling and my future, all of that. And so this is the third video. Stop chewing on that, kitten. And I want to show you how to do this. It's called honing in on your own voice. And I gotta get her because she's gonna chew my cord. Come here. So there's so many things, and I talk about this in the book, that you have a lot of different voices in your head. And I don't mean you're crazy. I just mean that when we are growing up, we have influences from people around us. And so maybe that's your mom or dad or a teacher, a friend, a boyfriend, a brother, a grandma, grandpa. Hold on, come here. You are gonna... Okay, come here. Okay, but first look at this. Look at this kitten. Voices in your head, not in a crazy way. So we are influenced by the world around us. We all know that. So we often carry the voice of our loved one that we really held in esteem in our lives from our childhood, right? So maybe your dad meant a lot in your world, and in a good or a bad way. So maybe he was there encouraging you, and his voice in your head and your life sounds like, you can do it, keep going, I love you, you're amazing. Or maybe your dad was like, would tear you down and call you names and that you weren't good enough and all of that stuff, and you have his voice ringing in your head, okay? And so it's just important to note that on a default level, if you haven't walked through any process, any kind of internal investigation, I mean, it's all okay. But if you haven't investigated, like, what beliefs do I have and why? What do I think about certain subjects and why? What voice am I being led by? How do I make most of my decisions? And where is that voice coming from? Is it mine? Is it someone else's? This is a practice of really how to like hone in and get really close to what does your voice sound like? If we were to weed through all of the voices that impacted you, and yes, they could sound a little bit like a mixture of parts of beliefs that your mom carried and beliefs that your dad carried, and that one teacher that really impacted you well. It could sound like your voice is a little bit of a mixture of all of those influences in your life. I think the only time that this goes kind of wrong and can be harmful or hurtful is when we carry those voices of people that were harmful, or those voices of people that did tear us down, and our internal voice can sometimes sound similar to theirs. So like I said, if someone called you not good enough, or if they made you feel like you weren't good enough, we can almost take that on as our own voice. Like, oh yeah, that's how I feel about myself. That's how I talk to myself. Anytime I go to do things, I'm like, yep, see, you're not enough. I knew it. I'm looking for confirmation. I'm telling myself that story now. And so that's when it's really harmful, is when we haven't gone on the journey to really investigate what is the voice that I listen to the most, and why do I carry that? And like I said, if it's good, great, good for you. I love that, right? And if it's not good, then I hope this video finds you, because I want to teach you how to learn how to create your own voice in the middle of that. Okay, and so again, it comes back to internal, inside of you, and it comes back to decision. It comes back to, so these are the 2 steps that I would walk you through. First, write out all the voices that you can identify. So Let's say you hear your mom's voice when it comes to the voice of reason, or you are staying in a safe job because your dad was like really instilled in you this 9 to 5 work ethic, right? That's what I'm talking about. So write down as much as you can identify, what does it look like for me to connect to the voices that I listen to the loudest in my world, and who do those sound like? Do those sound like more like my abuser? Do those sound more like a good dad? Do those sound more like a good mom? Do those sound more like love? Do they sound more like hatred? Whatever, okay? I want you to just write it all down. Shoot, I forgot the second step. It'll come back around. Because you're going to decide. Essentially, you're going to decide. The first step is honing in on the voices that you already have and what voice you listen to the most. And then the decision part comes in. Okay, great. What voice, like let's say that was a horrible voice that you listen to. Maybe it's critical and demeaning, and maybe it tears you down. This is the process of you reclaiming and redeeming your life and coming back to change that story and change that voice. So you get to decide, I am no longer going to allow my voice to sound like that to myself. So on the second piece of paper, I want you to write down, what do you want your voice to sound like? Okay? And maybe you don't know right away, and that's okay. Maybe you get to go on a journey, and maybe you get to discover. And I would go as far as to say, break down topics. What do I think about politics? What do I think about gay marriage? What do I think about love? What do I think about what I can have in my life? What do I think about money? What do I think about marriage? Right? And really start to get close to, okay, I can see what my mom thought about those things. And I can see that I've adapted some of her things. But really, it's like polishing off. That's what I mean by like honing in. It's like dialing in that radio dial to like, where's my voice in the midst of this? What does my voice sound like? And so I want you to start filling up those pages with, oh, actually, I see it this way. I think this about it. And it doesn't mean that you're right and I'm wrong. It doesn't mean that I'm right and you're wrong. It's not about what you think about it. It's just about you being able to think about it. You having your own voice in it and deciding what you think about those things and deciding what voice you're going to listen to. Are you going to listen to a voice that is celebrating you? Are you going to listen to a voice that is hating you and demeaning you? You get to decide. So first, you're going to hone in on that voice. What are they? What's at play? Then you're going to decide. And second, you're going to build that new voice. You're going to polish it down. You're going to get rid of things if you need to. You're going to really strengthen parts if you need to. Like, oh, you know what? I actually believe this, and I haven't been like implementing it. I haven't been listening to it. I haven't been saying it. And so that's what it kind of looks like. Hopefully that's helpful. I know it's kind of arbitrary, but that's okay. If it was, like and subscribe and stay tuned for more.